during the course of your WWF career, do you feel like you hurt yourself more doing pro wrestling or MMA?
Oh, no doubt. Pro wrestling is where I get more damage. I got more damage. MMA is an area where I was good, right? So when I went into a fight, I could finish a guy in a minute, 2 minutes, and on to the next. Even when I had tough fights, I was good enough not to take damage because I'd take them down. I didn't get into the slug matches with people. I took them down, worked the submission game, less damage. When I went into a pro wrestling ring, I had to give them my body. Like, it wasn't like I could defend myself and stop them from slamming me. They're going to slam me because that's part of the program. So I had to do that for 3 weeks in a row, go home for 5 days, go back out on the road for 2 weeks, go back home for 3 days, go back out on the road for 10 days, go back home for a week. So you were constantly 3 to 4 times every single week getting slammed, getting hit with chairs, put through tables, taking bumps for 3 years. It's a lot of bumps, man. It's a lot of punishment on your body that you're allowing to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I interviewed Tito Ortiz and we get into his list of injuries and he starts mentioning all the serious damage situation, all of the operations and so forth. It was like crazy. Like this operation, hurt disc here, slip disc there, rotator cuff here, this, that.
And it's hard, and the bodies can't take that much damage. I mean, I've had 8 surgeries myself through my career. I've had ACL replaced my left knee, ACL replaced my right knee, 50% of my meniscus taken on my right knee, L4-5, S1 fused in my lower back, T3, T2, T2, T1, T1, C7 disc replacement, C7, C6 fuse, C6, C5 fuse, C5, C4 disc replacement, and a reattached retina, and probably about maybe 10 to 12 concussions.
You know, you watch movies like The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, and, you know, there's that scene where he's signing autographs, he's looking around the room, and this guy's in a wheelchair, this guy's got a leg brace, this guy's got a cane.
One guy's got a bag he's pissing in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, would you agree that this is what happens with most MMA fighters or most wrestlers in particular when they get older, that their bodies just get destroyed in that fashion?
Of course, and it doesn't happen in the fights. It happens in training because you got to put so much more time in training and put yourself in all those bad situations so that you're prepared for the worst in the ring. And you got to do that for 3 months when you're training for a fight. In wrestling, you've got to be able to go in the ring at least in a week, 3 times a week. You're doing events and house shows. And then you're leading up to a pay-per-view where you're going to even go bigger. And in those matches, you're taking 7 to 8 bumps in one match, and even taking kicks and punches. They're still landing, they're not full force, but you're still taking them. And then you're taking chairs and tables and all these other things. And you're doing it 3 to 4 times a week for 3 weeks straight before you lead into a pay-per-view. That's a lot of punishment on your body that goes on constantly every single year. Like, if you're doing it for 3 years, it doesn't stop. It's like being a rock star, right? They're on the road all the time, and they've got shows they're performing. It's a grind even for them, and they're not even taking bumps.
Right. I mean, I remember going through the research before I interviewed New Jack, and the types of things that he was doing to his body. Like, remember that huge dive that he did when he hit 10 tables stacked on top of each other? And
that's not the first time he did it. The guy does it again somewhere else.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of amazing, getting hit in the face with folding metal chairs, getting thrown off the top ropes, going off balconies. Yeah, man, listen, I don't know how you guys do it. Honestly, I absolutely don't know how you do it.
Right. I think that's why when someone says, even though they don't mean any disrespect, they're just uneducated. But when someone says wrestling's fake, and they're not being insulting, they just don't know any better. That's why you see wrestlers or fans take an insult to that because they know what these wrestlers go through.
No, absolutely. And speaking of that, you actually have a new league that's on your shirt right now.
Yeah. Valor Bare Knuckle. This is one that, when I was fighting, fighting saved my life. I mean, literally, it got me off the streets. It gave me a career. It gave me an opportunity to do something I love. And I got to be very good at it. And I started Valor because I felt like, if this did this for me, I have an opportunity to be able to turn around and pay it forward. I get an opportunity to get an organization and be able to help other men and women follow their dreams. And so that's one of the main reasons why I did it. Also, too, I felt like I have an opportunity I could make it better. Like, even the rule sets, the way we fight, making it more exciting for the fans and also more action for the fighters. The bout circle. There's no rings, there's no ropes, there's no cages. It's a pit. It's a bout circle where you can see into there and there's nothing in your way. Reason why I did that was because I wanted to be more fan friendly. I wanted to be able to sit there and be able to have an experience and be able to get what they pay for. If they buy a ticket in the front row, you don't want to have to be looking through ropes or cages. I mean, you spent money on a good seat. You should get a good seat. So that was in mind when we did the bout circle, was that want to make it more friendly to people who were going to pay for the tickets and they wanted those good seats. We wanted to make sure they were good seats. So all these things that are happening in Valor are things that I think that we can make better and try to improve in the combat space.
So when you say bare knuckle, does that mean no gloves at all?
True bare knuckle, God-given talent. You see sometimes when someone says, "Hey, you want to go see a bare knuckle fight?" And then you watch it and you're like, "That's not bare knuckle." It's like they got tape on their hands. It's like, what are you trying to get somebody killed? It's like, let me tape your hand and then I got my knuckles exposed and we'll just go ahead and punch and we'll make it more dangerous. It's like, it's crazy. It's like true bare knuckle because it forces fighters to have to be accurate. Then you put a tape on their hands. It means that now they can literally punch with a bare knuckle and hurt you. I mean, seriously hurt you and not damage their hand because now they got protection on their hand and they don't have to be as accurate. So without the tape, it forces you to have to be more accurate. You can't punch as hard because if you miss, you're going to break your hand. So now you have to slow down your punches and you have to be more professional, more accurate with your striking. You got to use footwork because you can't stand there and parry punches because there's no glove to parry them. It's too small. If you try to parry them, you're going to get hit. So it's really upping the game of striking and making people become more professional in striking. And it's cleaner.
How did you feel when boxing and MMA kind of merged when McGregor fought Mayweather?
I love it. I think we're seeing that trend now. You see influencers who are coming in and mixing it up, and I think it's exciting. And I see people getting angry about it. I'm like, why? It's like, this is great for the sport when more people want to watch it. And so, I just think it's great. I think that we're being able to open it to more eyes. You get more people involved because you're not just bringing in a boxing crowd. Now you're bringing in an influencer crowd. You're bringing in other people who are going, "Hey, what's going on over there?" Because there's a lot of ruckus going on. So it's really making a bigger event. So I'm all for it and I love it. I think it's great. As long as you're not putting a fight together where someone's going to get hurt. They're that much outmatched. That's where the tricky part is.
Right, because Jake Paul's next fight is supposed to be with UFC champ Anderson Silva.
I like it. It. Yes.
How do you think that's going to go?
I'll tell you, man, it's going to be tricky because if the Anderson Silva comes out that we know, it's going to be a long night. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, I know what it's like to get old. I know what it's like to slow down. I know what it's like to be a split second slower. You may still look the same, but you don't realize that you're a split second slower, which causes you to miss or get hit. And I think Silva's at that point now, whereas he might be a little bit slower, and that's going to give opportunities for him to be able to get hit a whole lot more than he normally would.
Right, because Silva's 47, Jake Paul is 25.
Sounds like Tito and Ken Shamrock.
Right.
Yeah.
Part 4.
Yeah.
I mean, as someone who's devoted their whole life to fighting, how would you really rate Jake Paul as a boxer?
I think he's tough. I think Jake's got skills, no question. He's worked at it. I know he's gotten better from his first fight to where he is right now. So he's put in the work. But again, like I said, I think he's got the skills to win the fight. It all depends on whether or not Silva comes out and can bring back his youth, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take Silva being able to come back and be able to be who he used to be for him to beat Paul.
All right, because Jake already had a fight against a UFC guy and he beat him.
Woodley.
Exactly. And I mean, you can't even say anything. I mean, that was a legitimate win by Jake Paul.
Hate it all you want. Be angry all as you want. But numbers are coming in. And that's all that matters.
Yep. Well, that's what it is. Ken Shamrock, appreciate you coming in. A legendary career. And you never ducked anybody. Nope. You fought all the toughest guys. You took on every challenger. You took on damage along the way. And, you managed to really straddle the road between UFC and WWE and be a champion in both. And I think that's extremely impressive. Has anyone ever actually done that on this level before? I don't think so.
Well, they've done it, but I was the first. Yes.
Yeah. That's what it is, man. Truly an honor to sit down with you. Wish you all the best.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. Peace.